What's up, YouTube family? It's been about 2 weeks since I put out a video. I don't have corona. I'm not at home. I've been working, and in the little bit of time that I did get off, I managed to make a cool opening I'm going to show you here in a minute. I hope you guys like it. And Nighttiger, my buddy Nighttiger, actually helped me make a new closing, guest starring our old buddy Rick. So I got about 25 books I'm going to show you guys, and let's get to it. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that opening. I've been working on that for a while. I thought it was really cool. I've watched it about 50 times trying to tweak it. I just couldn't make it any better. I was trying to get my logo to stay on there a little bit longer, but I couldn't figure it out. So anyway, I gave it my best effort. I've been holding off doing a video so that I could finish that. And hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought about that in the comments below. And stay and watch till the end and see what Nighttiger did for me. Like I said, guest starring my buddy Rick over here. So I've got some books. I've been collecting these over the past couple of months. Haven't been putting any of these out, but I did take a couple days of vacation off with everything going on, and decided to get caught up on some reading. So I'm going to show you the books that I read over like the last 5 days here. Some of these I picked up at our last new comic book day that we got last week. So first, starting off, we've got Daredevil number 37. And then if you follow me on Instagram, I actually showed a story out of this book. This is Epic, number 1 from 1980. That's a Frank Frazetta cover. And anyway, on Instagram, I showed a story out of here. It's got some really beautiful art. It's a Silver Surfer story. And basically, he goes on a quest. Galactus tells him it's a waste of time, but he's wanting to find out the meaning and the story behind the universe. And Galactus tells him, "You're just wasting your time. You'll see. No matter how many times I tell you, just do it, get it over with, get it out of your system, and you'll see what I mean." So if you want to check out my Instagram, this post I think I did about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and it was the entire story of the Silver Surfer story. It was really good. Next, I did pick up a couple books the past 2 weeks from New Comic Book Day. So I got The Immortal Hulk. This was the A cover, and a little bit disappointed in the story. The story on Immortal Hulk, in my opinion, has gone down since probably about issue 20 or so. These have been, I don't know, I just don't think the story is there right now. So probably, who knows how things are going, but we may not get to see too much more of the Immortal Hulk. Who knows? The other thing I picked up a couple weeks ago was the Bounty Hunters. I love Star Wars. I love anything to do with what I thought was going to be a Boba Fett story. So far, he really hasn't been in it. I did read issue number 2, and this first issue didn't really have much to do at all with him. This is the variant cover. I do love that cover. I do like these Star Wars books that they've been putting out with the movie covers. This great cover, but the story just sucks, to be honest. Surprisingly, I never read any stories that included these guys, Hawk and Dove. This is Teen Titans number 21, and it has an appearance of Hawk and Dove in here. And these guys are actually pretty cool. I always thought they were stupid, but reading this story was fun. These guys were fun, and I hope to pick up some more storylines with this version of Hawk and Dove. They were great in there. A while back, a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I got a solid deal. I went into my LCS and got a solid deal on a lot of books that you'll be seeing over the next few videos. But this is one of them that I got in there. With everything that I bought, I'm going to tell you, I paid about $1.30 for this book. Averaged out with all the books that I bought, everything I bought ended up being an average of $1.30. So I got that for $1.30, and it's in gorgeous condition. You know, a little tan, and edges are a little, you know, they're a little worn, but not really bad at all. That was obviously a good story. Great story for Captain America. This one I've had for a little while. I got this at a different shop that I go to. This one took me a while to read, but I started reading it 2 other times, and then the 3rd time I picked it up, I read right through it. It was really good. I think the other 2 times I was just tired while I was reading it. You're going to notice a lot of these need to be rebagged and boarded. A lot of them still have the price and everything on it. So this was Doctor Strange number 23. Now, a while back, I did get I think it was a 45 comic book lot, 45 or 50 comic book lot of Doctor Strange, this series. I don't think I had that one in there, but even if I did, I went ahead and picked it up and reread it. It was a fun story, really good. I did not jump on the Punchline bandwagon in time like everybody else did, and I haven't picked the Punchline issues up, the Hell Arisen number 3 or Batman 89 or anything, but I did happen to pick up, I think this was the 2nd print of Batman number 90, and that was a good story. I might try and find out if I can get a copy of 89 and, you know, just a 2nd or 3rd print or whatever so I can read the story. It was pretty good. The next book I've got for you, this is one of the ones I picked up the last new comic book day that I went to. This is Justice League Dark number 21. This story's been a little all over the place the past couple issues. I think it just seems like it's so long in between issues, and there's a lot of writing that goes on in Justice League Dark. A lot of story to be told, and they've kind of jumped back and forth between the Lords of Chaos, the Lords of Order. Now they're into the Riot. I mean, it's been all over the place to me. Maybe I'm not reading them in order. I'm not sure. I go to the comic book store, like, maybe, and pick up my books, you know, at odd times. So maybe I read a couple issues out of order. I'm not sure, but it seems like it's been a little all over the place to me. One book that I thought was really cool that I read, that I picked up last week, was God Killers number 2. I don't think I have number 1. I thought I did when I picked this up at the shop, but I don't think I do. But this God Killers number 2 was really pretty good. Kind of like a vampire story, but different kind of vampire. Obviously, you can see the way they change on there, so a little bit different. Let me get these out of the way. Now, I talked about that Bounty Hunters. Yes, okay. So I did pick up number 2. By the time I got to the store, this was before everybody decided to close up all the shops and everything. This is like one of the best covers they had left, so I picked up that one. They did have, I think it was a Boba Fett variant, and they wanted like $14.99 for that, so I passed on that one. But again, you know, I read this one, and the story just, to me, is not there yet. I'm a big fan of Star Wars, like I said, and I hate saying that about it, but it's just not there yet. So next I got like the old style version of the Immortal Hulk variant on this one. And again, like I said on the other Immortal Hulk books, the story's been going downhill. So I don't know what it is with all these new books. Nobody can really seem to put it together. Now, Batman, like I said, Batman was really good. And then the God Killers book was pretty good. But the rest of the new books that I've been reading recently, they aren't that good. So I've spent more time reading my bronze and silver and everything. So here's another one I picked up. This was, I think this was in the group that I got, that Captain America. So actually, this one was $1. So no, this one was last week. But this is Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. number 9. And that was a cool story with the hate monger in there. This one was one of my better stories that I read. This is Call the Conqueror number 1. Now that one I did get with the Captain America. I got a lot of Captain America, a lot of Silver Age books, and a lot of like really early Bronze stuff, and a couple number 1 books with that stuff. But this is another book. With all the books that I bought, it was like $1.30 after everything was said and done. This one I got last week. This is Tomb of Dracula number 56. And this was a cool story. If you've never read Tomb of Dracula, this guy Harold, he's a writer in there, and he's writing, in this issue, he's writing a story about how he's like the main glue that holds the whole group together between him, Quincy Harker, his granddaughter, and Frank Drake, and this girl I cannot for the life of me remember. Aurora, I think is her name. And basically in the story that he's writing, he's like the one that's not afraid of Dracula, and he's the one that always conquers their fears and saves the day and everything. It was a pretty good story. Next, this was actually probably my favorite read out of everything that I had, and I was shocked. I really don't care a whole lot for Submariner, but this story was really good. This is Prince Namor, the Submariner number 9, and this one, they had some kind of helmet, or like a crown, that Submariner had been looking for, and ended up he left it to his guards to secure, and he went to go talk. He went to go try and calm down his subjects, and while he was away, this lady ends up seeing the crown, like it had some kind of outer molding on it that crumbled off, and it called out to her, and she placed it on her head, and she kind of like took over Atlantis. So really cool story. If I can find more of Submariner, I'll definitely be picking those old issues up. This was another one that I hadn't read before that I was thoroughly entertained with. Howard the Duck number 1. This was a great story. Loved it. Love Howard the Duck. And I've got a whole bunch of his issues, but I've never got to read number 1. So that was a good story. This next book is also up on my top books. This is What If Doctor Doom Had Become a Hero? So basically, this follows the What If storyline, and there's a moment when Doctor Doom is trying to reach out to the void, and he's performing an experiment, and they show how it went, and then they show what if he would have listened to Reed Richards, and Reed Richards would have come on board and helped him with the experiment. He would have touched the other world where his mother was, and when he did that, basically Mephisto saw who he was and felt that Dr. Doom goes back to Latveria, frees his people, he's a great ruler, and Mephisto, because he had come through to the other side, had noticed his presence and realizes now that Dr. Doom is one of those altruistic people. So he puts him in a dilemma with the love of his life, and he can either have all of his people be freed and be the leader of his people and lead them on to good things, or give up his wife and she has to stay in hell. So he has to make a really tough choice, and we all know Dr. Doom. We know what Dr. Doom did, so probably not spoiling it for anybody. Up next, I only got a couple more books. I got Black Panther, or Jungle Action Black Panther number 23. that was a pretty good story. One of the last couple of books I have here is Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. #5, and that had an appearance of Scorpio. That was a interesting story. Only damage on here, you can kind of see down here in the corner, it's got a fairly good size, about the size of my thumb, tore out of it. So, last two books. I've got Gold Key, Ripley's Believe It or Not. I think this is issue number 8, 9, 10, or 11. I bought a run. I can't remember. Let me open it up and see. But I bought a run of books, and I can't remember which one. This is number 11 from 1968. So, Ripley's Believe It or Not, True Ghost Stories, number 11. Great cover on that. Stories are so-so, but it was a fun read, you know. Last thing I have not read this because it's a square-bound book, and I paid $10 for it, so I haven't wanted to crack the binding on it, but I did take it out and very delicately open up the pages. This is the illustrated Roger Zelanzi. And this is all illustrated by Frazetta. So really great art on the inside. And I'd seen a documentary a couple years ago where Roger Zelanzi was talking about doing a remake of Dune, and his production of Dune would have just been ridiculously crazy and awesome. He didn't get to do it because it was going to be way over budget, way over money. Some of the stars he was talking about were Marlon Brando and a couple other big names and stuff, but it would have been crazy. And this is just artwork based off of some of his stories. I'm sorry, it's not Frazetta, it's Gray Morrow. Sorry about that. I don't know why I got that confused, but Gray Morrow did all the illustrations for this. Really cool. Looked out, like I said, I wanted to read it, but I didn't want to crack the spine on it, so I ended up only getting to look at it. But anyway, that's all I've got for you. Now stay tuned to the very end. I know this has been a long video, but Michael Nighttiger out there did a closing for me that I'm going to throw on the end here. Like I said, casting my buddy Rick up here. So you'll get to see that. Anyway, leave me a like, leave me a comment. If you're new to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe if you want to see more of my content. And I'll probably be doing another video here in another week. I'm going to try and put these typically out on Tuesday until we get back from coronavirus land and be able to go back to our comic book stores. So guys, stay safe out there. Thanks.